Hello Army, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because today's story is one of the most genuinely touching things we've covered on this channel in a long time. This isn't just about a sweet moment caught on camera at a concert. This is about what happened afterward, when a mother sat down and put into words exactly what that moment meant to her daughter. We're talking about Olivia, her mom, and a message that's been making people cry all over the world. Let's walk through this story together. So let's start with the setting, because understanding the full context makes what comes next hit even harder. BTS brought their ongoing Arirang World Tour to AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, for 2 nights, August 15th and 16th. As part of that stop, a special section of the concert was set aside for children being supported by Heroes for Children, a Texas-based non-profit organization dedicated to helping families whose children are battling cancer. The organization provides financial assistance, transportation support, and other forms of help for families navigating what is, without question, one of the hardest experiences any parent or child could possibly face. 5 young cancer patients and their families attended the August 15th show together, seated in a special VIP suite arranged specifically for them. Among those 5 children was a little girl named Olivia, who has been fighting cancer for over a year. According to reports that came out afterward, Olivia is an enormous BTS fan, someone who knows the group's music inside and out, and getting the chance to actually attend a live concert, an experience that's genuinely difficult to come by for a child undergoing ongoing treatment, was clearly something enormous for her. During the performance, Jimin stepped away from the main stage and made his way toward that special section. He approached Olivia directly, handed her a small gift, a limited edition plush keychain from the tour, gently touched her head, and then leaned in for a warm hug and a kiss on the cheek. Video of the moment, captured by fans nearby, shows Olivia's reaction immediately afterward, completely stunned, repeating over and over, "I got a kiss, I got a kiss, I got a kiss," before turning to look back at the footage she'd recorded of the entire interaction, almost like she needed to watch it back immediately just to confirm it had really happened. That clip alone would have been enough to make this a genuinely heartwarming story on its own. We've actually covered similar moments on this channel before, instances of Jimin noticing a specific fan in a crowd and taking a few seconds out of a massive stadium show to offer some kind of personal, individual connection. But this particular story didn't stop there, and that's really what I want to focus on today. In the days following the concert, Heroes for Children shared a message on their official social media account. It wasn't just a simple caption thanking BTS for the moment. It was a full message written from the perspective of Olivia's mother, addressed directly to Jimin and to BTS as a whole, reflecting on exactly what that brief interaction meant, not just for Olivia in the moment, but for her and for the other children who were there that night too. And once that message started circulating, it very quickly became just as big a part of this story as the original video itself. Let's actually walk through what that message said, because I think the specific details matter enormously here, and I want to make sure we give them the attention they deserve rather than just summarizing it in passing. Olivia's mother began by expressing her gratitude directly to Jimin, thanking him and telling him how much her daughter loves him, and adding that she loves him too, for what he did. She went on to thank BTS as a whole for giving her daughter such beautiful, warm moments. She described how excited Olivia and the other children in that section had been, explaining that they held onto the gift Jimin had given them and simply refused to let it go. According to her message, Olivia stayed up until 3 in the morning that night, still holding onto that keychain, before finally falling asleep. Sit with that detail for a second, because I think it's genuinely one of the most powerful parts of this entire story. A child who has been fighting cancer for over a year, staying awake for hours after an already emotionally overwhelming night, simply because she couldn't bring herself to put down a small gift from someone she admires so deeply. That's not just excitement, that's the kind of pure, uncomplicated joy that can feel especially precious and especially rare for a family going through something as difficult as pediatric cancer treatment. Her mother continued, describing Olivia and the other children at the concert that night as little angels currently fighting cancer. She explained that over the past year, because of ongoing chemotherapy treatment, these children hadn't had many opportunities to simply go outside and experience normal childhood activities, the kinds of things most kids get to take completely for granted. But this time was different. Heroes for Children and the Children's Health Plan specifically arranged for them to attend this BTS concert, because these organizations knew the children were fans, and wanted to give them a genuine, joyful experience amid everything else they've been dealing with. She then shared something that I think really captures the emotional weight of this entire evening. She said the children knew so many of BTS's songs by heart. She explained that under normal circumstances, these kids probably would have already been asleep by 9 o'clock that night, given everything their bodies are going through with ongoing treatment. But instead, they stayed up, wide awake, waiting for the moment they could sing Butter along with the group, hoping to make it all the way to the very end of the song together. That detail alone is genuinely remarkable when you think about it. These are children whose bodies are already being pushed to their limits by treatment, who would normally need significant rest just to manage day to day. And yet, on this particular night, the sheer joy and anticipation of being able to sing along to a song they love, performed live by artists they admire, was powerful enough to keep them awake and engaged well past what would typically be possible for them. Let's talk a little bit about why a message like this resonates so deeply once people actually read the full context behind it, because I think it's worth taking a moment to really unpack that. There's something genuinely profound about hearing directly from a parent describing exactly what a moment like this means, not through the lens of a news headline or a quick caption, but through her own words, describing her own daughter's specific reactions in specific, concrete detail. The image of a child staying up past 3 in the morning holding onto a small gift isn't an abstract statement about happiness, it's an incredibly vivid, specific detail that immediately paints a clear picture in your mind of exactly how much this moment meant. And I think that specificity is really the key to why this particular message spread so widely and moved so many people once it started circulating. It would have been easy for this to remain just a generic thank you message, expressing gratitude in broad, general terms. Instead, Olivya's mother chose to share genuinely personal, specific details, the timing, the behavior, the emotional context of what her daughter and the other children in that section were going through both that night and throughout the previous year of treatment. That level of specific, honest detail is exactly what transforms a nice gesture into something that genuinely moves people on a much deeper emotional level. Let's also spend some time thinking about the broader context surrounding these organizations involved in making this night possible, because I think understanding their work adds real depth to appreciating the full scope of this story. Heroes for Children, the organization that helped coordinate Olivya's attendance, exists specifically to provide financial and social support to families navigating pediatric cancer treatment, covering things like basic living expenses, transportation to and from treatment, and other forms of assistance that families facing this kind of crisis often desperately need but don't always have easy access to. The Children's Health Plan similarly works to support access to health-related resources and experiences for children and families who need them. Organizations like these do genuinely essential, often unglamorous work behind the scenes, work that doesn't always get the same level of public attention as a viral concert moment might. But moments like this one, a beloved artist taking the time to personally engage with children these organizations support, help shine a spotlight on that underlying work too, introducing new audiences to organizations they might not have previously been aware of, and in this specific case, inspiring a wave of direct charitable support as a result. Let's talk about what happened after this story spread, because this is honestly where things become even more meaningful. Once footage of the original interaction and Olivya's mother's message started circulating widely across social media, fans began responding not just with emotional comments and shares, but with direct action. According to reports that followed, ARMY, BTS's global fanbase, mobilized to help raise additional funds specifically for Heroes for Children, channeling the emotional impact of this moment into real, tangible support for the same organization that made this experience possible for Olivya and the other children in the first place. That's honestly become such a consistent, recognizable pattern within this specific fandom, something we've talked about on this channel before in the context of other charitable moments connected to BTS and its individual members. A moment of genuine, unscripted kindness happens, it resonates deeply with people who witness it, and rather than that emotional response simply staying online as shared clips and comments, it consistently translates into real, measurable charitable action. Fans don't just watch these moments and feel something, they actively look for ways to extend that same spirit of generosity outward themselves. Let's also take a moment to reflect on what this specific message reveals about Jimin's approach to these kinds of interactions more broadly, because I think it's worth appreciating the underlying character reflected here. In the moment itself, during a massive stadium performance in front of tens of thousands of people, he made the choice to step away from the main stage specifically to acknowledge these particular children, to give them something personal and meaningful, and to make sure they felt genuinely seen and celebrated during an experience that clearly mattered enormously to them. He couldn't have known, in that exact moment, that a mother would later write such a detailed, emotional account of exactly what that gesture meant. The kindness itself wasn't performed with an audience or a viral moment in mind, it happened because he noticed these specific children and chose to prioritize connecting with them, even briefly, amid an enormous production. That's genuinely the kind of detail that tends to matter most to people once they learn the full story. It wasn't a calculated, camera-ready gesture built for maximum social media impact. It was a genuine human response to seeing children who were clearly there specifically because they loved his music and his group, children who, as their families and support organizations made clear, don't always get many chances to simply experience joy and normalcy amid ongoing, difficult medical treatment. Let's also think for a moment about what this entire story represents for Olivya specifically, and for her family, beyond just the viral moment itself. Childhood cancer treatment is an incredibly difficult, often isolating experience, not just for the child going through it, but for the entire family navigating alongside them. Moments of genuine, uncomplicated joy, the kind that let a child simply feel like a kid again, singing along to favorite songs, meeting someone they admire, holding onto a small treasured gift, carry enormous weight precisely because they can feel so rare and so precious amid an otherwise incredibly challenging chapter of life. For Olivya's mother to take the time, in the midst of everything her family is currently navigating, to sit down and write out such a detailed, heartfelt message expressing gratitude, tells you something meaningful about just how much this specific night mattered to her and to her daughter. It wasn't simply a nice thing that happened at a concert. Based on her own words, it was clearly one of those rare, treasured moments of pure joy that families in this kind of situation hold on to especially tightly. Let's also spend a moment appreciating the broader significance of stories like this one circulating as widely as they do, well beyond just the existing BTS fandom. Stories centered around genuine human connection, especially ones involving children facing serious illness finding moments of real joy and normalcy, tend to resonate across a much broader audience than fandom-specific content usually does. People who might have no connection to K-pop whatsoever can still be genuinely moved reading a mother's account of her daughter staying up until 3 in the morning simply because she didn't want to let go of a small gift from someone who made her feel special during an incredibly difficult year. That broader emotional resonance is honestly part of why this particular story has traveled as far and as fast as it has. It's not just a fandom moment being celebrated within fandom spaces, it's a genuinely universal story about kindness, joy, and the profound impact small gestures can have on people going through enormously difficult circumstances, a story that happens to involve Jimin and BTS, but that ultimately speaks to something much broader about human connection and compassion. Before we wrap up, I want to hear from you. When you read through the details of Olivya's mother's message, which specific part stood out to you the most? Was it the image of her staying up until 3 in the morning, the description of the children as little angels fighting cancer, or something else entirely from her account? And has a moment like this ever moved you enough to want to take some kind of action yourself, whether that's donating to an organization, sharing a story, or simply reaching out to support someone going through something difficult? Drop your thoughts down in the comments, I read every single one, and stories like this one genuinely remind me why this fandom, and moments like this in general, continue to matter so much to so many people. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next update, because stories like this one, the ones that remind us what genuine kindness can accomplish, are exactly the kind of content I care most about bringing to this channel. Thank you so much for watching, I'll see you in the next video, and until then, take care of yourselves. Bye!